Hello everybody, welcome back to a video. We are going to be doing some sewing today, and I hope you're super excited because I am finally ready to tackle my Holy Grail project. And if you've been around these parts for a while, hopefully that would click for you right away and you know exactly what type of project I'm talking about, because this is something where, when you're into a hobby, whether it's a sport or like a craft hobby or something like that, there's always this like aspirational project, right? It's like an aspirational hike. Like for some people, I don't know, it's like Everest or something like that. For me, in the sewing realm, my project has always been a well-fitting pair of trouser pants, big girl pants, if you will, with the belt loops and the waistband and the proper interfacing and like made of something really beautiful and has a front fly zip like that. Front fly zip, I think maybe, is like the biggest trigger word for me since I started sewing. It's something that seems so complicated, and by no means am I a beginner sewer anymore. I've been sewing for many years on and off, but I've always avoided that realm. And maybe it's not actually as hard as it seems in my head. Maybe I've just like psyched it, up to be this ginormous thing, but it seems complicated. And if I could make myself a really well-fitting pair of pants, I would be so pleased, and then I can stop the struggle in trying to look for pants. Because as someone who doesn't quite fit into the average sizing of ready-to-wear, it is such a pain to look for pants. So for me, my struggle was being more petite. I'm only about 5'2" on a good day. Majority of clothes, you can buy from the shops are certainly not sized for me. And even the majority of commercial sewing patterns are drafted for someone 5'7" ballpark. So my goal through this longer term project, so we're going to document this through quite a number of videos, I think, is to try out making a pair of pants and see where that takes us. I found various ways to avoid the front fly zip over the years. I've done elastic pants, I've done one with a flat front but elastic back. I've done like all the things to try and avoid this, but I think it is time to tackle the big girl pants. So initially I had wanted, and actually I filmed this a couple of months ago because I had the intention of using a commercial pattern that was, a retro pattern. It was proportioned for people who are petite but also taller than the average. So they had 3 band sizing, and that was interesting. I was going to go with that approach, but the instructions were a little sparse and I wasn't quite confident in the fact I could just like do it all the bits all at once. And then I put that aside for a while because I lost my mojo. And I was online the other day and I saw a sewing pattern company named Nicole Studio. And she designs sewing patterns for people who are petite in stature. So she's calling, 5'4" and under. Like I said, I'm 5'2" on a good day with a little extra. So that gets us closer to where I am, and hopefully with less alterations. So she has this pair of pants. The design is quite vintage inspired, a little bit of workwear. These are called the Nita trousers by Nicole Studio. She doesn't have too many patterns on her site, but I love that she has a pair of pants. It's very close to kind of my ideal. I'm not sure I would necessarily wear it in the exact leg width and leg silhouette that she's got designed here, but if I can get the fit of everything else down, the leg width is like super easy to alter myself. So I'm not worried about that. I just want kind of the tummy area and the waist and the rise and the bum and all that to work out. The leg, easy peasy. So this is actually what I'm going to start with. So I completely scrapped the footage from a couple of months ago, and we are going to start here with the Nita trousers by Nicole Studio. So that is actually a PDF pattern. So I've got it printed out. I've trimmed it. I still need to glue it together and then trace off my size. I might be a little bit in between sizes. Oh, side note. You know what this is, eh? I'm trying to talk a little softer because I know this mic is like right up in my face. With doing, slightly different videos, I wanted the option to be further away from the camera and still talk to you and have you hear me. I don't know what is the quality of this little thing right here. We will find out in post-editing, and hopefully editing Jerry will make it sound presentable. It will just give me a bit more flexibility in terms of setting up the camera further away, still talking to you, and just, talking a more like calmer, regular voice instead of screaming across at the camera, which I am used to doing when I film, but I like not to. So this is going to be probably a multi-part series, if you will. Now, if you are here and you're still thinking about these pants, which loads of you have voted for me to make, I will still get here, but I really do want to try this pattern first, and I'm pretty set on this. I haven't quite decided if I want to make a proper muslin, like a tester with tester fabric, just to check all the details and give it a trial run, or if I'm going to go straight into like a wearable muslin. I have lots of beautiful fabric fit for a pair of trousers. I just don't know if I want to cut like straight into them, like I've got wool crepe, I've got gabardine, I've got like cotton twill, I've got quite a few options there, but I haven't quite decided. Like my usual self would just go in with a wearable fabric and just see where it takes me. But I also don't want to be disappointed if I cut into something nice, and it doesn't quite turn out. So I'll think about that while I glue this thing together. So I hope you are looking forward to the struggles of my pant making. Some parts will be definitely smoother and just quick, but when we get to some of those fiddly bits, hopefully I'll be able to show you all the little details and my thought process, and maybe like we'll work through a couple of pants until I settle on one that I really like. So this actually might be like a year-long project series, so we'll see where this takes me. And if you're looking forward to following me along on this pant sewing journey, you let me know down below in the comments, but I am going to go and glue this big thing together. So I'll check in with you in a bit.
Alright, a little progress update. I am not wearing the mic right now, by the way, which if you want to compare the difference between me with the little, with the lav mic in the intro of this video versus me just talking naturally, about the same distance away, you let me know how it sounds. I check out the first clip in, afterwards on the computer, and I think I have to play with some settings. I don't know how much flexibility I have within the camera or in post editing that allow me to play with settings and the final outcome, but now that we're here, you can let me know how you feel about the sound quality. I do like the flexibility of being away from the camera with a little lav mic, but if the sound is going to be really awful, then it's not worth it, right? Anyways, we are now a few days later than when you saw me last. I have put the pattern together. I have also traced it out for my pattern size. Now, this is a layered pattern, so you could choose to print just a couple of sizes. What I always like to do is, I'll find my measurements in the measurement chart, and then I will print generally 1 to 2 sizes larger and then 1 to 2 sizes smaller. There's not really a point, in my opinion, to print the whole range, but I want a little bit, one way and the other in case I need to make adjustments, and there will be some guidelines ready there for me to use instead of having to reprint the pattern all over again. With that being said, there's quite a few pieces to trace because of the front fly zip and all that. There's like the fly flaps and the under flaps and all the stuff and the belt loops, and so I have traced off everything that needs to be traced. Anything that is like one size, for example, like belt loops and stuff like that, or some of the other smaller pieces where it's like universal, great, I don't have to retrace those, but the main pieces are going to be the leg front and the leg back, right? So those are now done. Might be a little bright at the moment, got the windows open, trying to get the last bits of sunshine before we hit the rainy season. So what I'm looking right here, and it's always easier to see when things are traced off and just clear, this is the back piece. You'll notice that there's 2 back darts. There is a spot for a welt pocket. I'm actually going to skip the welt pocket. I feel like doing the front fly zip is enough for me in one, for a first run. And if I like the fit enough, if I tweak it and stuff, I will then try the welt pocket. It's just a lot to do all at once. And I feel like I don't want to lose my sojo halfway in this project. So knowing myself, I decided to skip the back pockets, but there is fitting darts at the back, which is great. And then if you look at the front, this is the front piece. There's a couple of folds. Now what I find with just pants overall that I've tried in the past. I don't like it when the folds are not stitched down. And for me, the folds around just right under your waistline is meant to allow for movement and fullness and sit down and flexibility when you like move your body. Great. But I do find it a little puffy. I am right at the edge. I was looking at another pattern, by the way. I was right at the edge of needing like a curved waistband or whatever it is. That's not this pattern, but a lot of the other patterns, if they include it and are more detailed for bottoms and for pants, if you have a larger ratio between your waist and your hips, a higher discrepancy, you might need kind of I don't think it's a full butt adjustment per se, but it's something about the ratio between your two parts and needing like a slightly different adjustments that some patterns, only very few of them have it already built in. So I am kind of riding the line right there between could use it but could do without it. I think because I have a flatter bum, it kind of like evens out. However, I do know that I don't like it when my kind of front part is like too puffy with the pants. So I haven't read the instructions yet. If these pants do not ask for these creases or these pleats folds to be stitched down, I might take the initiative to stitch them down. I have to see. I've made a couple of elasticized pants with this detail, and I just much more prefer when they're stitched down. So we are now ready to talk about fabric. Now, when I saw you last, I was kind of debating between whether I want to use something really nice and just like go with it. And oftentimes I will do that because by the time I make a muslin or a tester and I have to go and like do it again in nicer fabric, I've just lost my sojo because it takes me so long to sew something. I'm a very slow sewist when it comes through working through the steps and with work and stuff. I just don't have like a lot of time to sew, and I love sewing, but sometimes I get demotivated or not feeling super like up for a big job, right? So I actually decided on something in between. I am going to use a piece of fabric that I already have in my collection, so I don't have to buy anything new. Working on something like this, the instructions do call for a non-stretch woven. This is a non-stretch woven. It has a little bit of give. So if I hold up like this, I'm just going to really wash me out, and I just do that, there's a little bit of give, but it's not a stretch. I believe this is 100% cotton. It is a twill weave. So this is a cotton twill, woven cotton twill. It's got the twill pattern in the front and then a smooth backing. I would say this is probably mid-weight. It's not super stiff. It's kind of in between. Like it's not too thick, not too thin, not too stiff, not too soft. I think it'll be great as a first go for the Nita trousers. Also because knowing this is going to be a first project for me, I want to be really precise about my press-in lines and my stitching, so having something that's easy to press and hold a press is going to be great. So if everything pans out, I would love to make something in wool. I have some beautiful wools, wool crepe, stuff like that, but I didn't feel confident going straight in with a wool. So I feel like this is a good wearable muslin, and it's just easy to work with. But it is quite wrinkled, so I'm going to have to iron this out, and I will cut out all of my pattern pieces. I need to figure out what I want to use for the front pockets. This pattern does have front slanted pockets. Come on, camera. Like right here. So I need a pocket bag. There's pocket bag pieces. Oh, the pockets are deep, by the way. These are not like a silly off the rack, women's wear pant pockets. These are significant pockets, so I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna hide some like candy or something in my pockets, but that's what I'm gonna do. I'll see how long the video goes. If it gets too long, I might break it up into part 2, but hopefully before we say goodbye, I would have all the pieces cut out and ready to read some instructions. All right, I did have to just pause what I was doing to share something really cool with you. As I was laying out my fabric to iron out and whatnot, I found there was some wording on the back of the fabric, the underside. And you can kind of only see in certain light, it's not super prominent, but I could read that it said West Tex Ultra Soft. I was like, oh, that sounds like some kind of branding. Now, what I forgot to mention in the start of this video is that this particular fabric I had purchased from Our Social Fabric, which is a Vancouver-based, how do I call them, fabric recycling resale initiative. They're wonderful. I shop there frequently-ish. I really like that during COVID they put up a website, so now you can shop online. But now it feels a little bit like my best kept secret has been let out, and it's harder to capture drops and stuff like that. It's like shopping for sneakers, like sneaker drops. Whoever is running their social media, by the way, like, thumbs up to you, great job. I can never get anything when you put them out because people are just like on it. Anyway, they're great because you can sometimes find really interesting fabrics for a great price and just discover things that you may not usually reach for and whatnot. So when I purchased this, I knew it was like a cotton twill. That was all good with me. And when I looked up, I'm like, what is this West Tex Ultra Soft? Apparently, they got a website. So this was, my assumption is, donated either by the manufacturer or by somebody who had bought from the manufacturer in some capacity and then donated to Our Social, to Our Social Fabric. So with that said, the whole point is that Our Social Fabric takes donations either from manufacturers, from designers, from other businesses who might have things custom printed or custom made. They take donations and then they resell the fabrics at a really great price, like super reasonable for the quality of things that you can find. Not everything is like amazing, but if you know how to dig, absolutely great pricing on a lot of cool stuff, especially like when they have a designer dead stock drop. Amazing. Anyway, when I was looking up this West Tex business, it actually says on their website that they were introduced in 1996, and this fabric line was designed with both comfort and safety in mind. And this is actually a blend of 88% cotton and 12% high tenacity nylon. And they're calling it, the purpose is to create a fabric that is focused on excellent abrasion resistance, while still being comfortable on the skin and still feeling natural, if you will. Over the years, I've leaned more towards natural fibers, and there's a time and a place for synthetics, and especially for utility fabrics and technical fabrics. But it's interesting to know that this, based on the fact that it's West Tex fabric, is actually made to be flame resistant, allegedly, according to the website. Flame resistant at higher temperatures. It's okay for industrial home washing machines. It's good for, I'm assuming they're making things like uniforms and workwear from this fabric. It's just really kind of cool. There's a couple of things on their website, and they do list that they make a cotton twill. So I'm assuming this piece of fabric is exactly that, which makes me weirdly a little bit more excited because that lets me know it's something that is manufactured to resist wear and tear, and especially if you're making bottoms, pants, skirts, anything like that, you do want fabrics that resist abrasion because it's going to be longer lasting. So just a little side tidbit as I cut out my pants.